sign there that says La Villita. It means little village. This is where San Antonio was first settled by early Spanish missionaries and also the Payaya Indians, beginning in the late 1600s, early 1700s. It's also where Santa Anna placed his cannon line during the siege of the Alamo in 1836. Now today, La Villita, though, is kind of like an artist community. There are various art galleries located here, some shops, and even a couple of restaurants. I do encourage you guys, if you're interested, walk through there. It's a really, really unique area of town. And this is our open-air theater called Arneson River Theater. It was built here in 1941. On the left side of the boat's all the seating, and on the right we have the stage. And above the stage are 5 bronze bells. Each bell does represent a mission here in San Antonio. Most popular of the missions is the Alamo, but there's also 4 others. By the way, guys, if anyone has ever seen the movie Miss Congeniality, there was actually a scene from that movie shot right here in this theater. So the next time you see the movie, look for Arneson River Theater. This portion of our river is all natural. Notice the waterfalls on our right here, guys. Very important for the health of the river. Help to provide new and fresh oxygen to all of our river life. On the right, notice the bronze statue of the cattleman there. As you can imagine, we do have a long history in the cattle industry, and some of that history is going to be on display in this museum, the Briscoe Western Art Museum, directly on our right. Notice their sign, guys. They do have free admission here all the way up until 9 o'clock. But they also have items of local history. For example, Santa Anna's ceremonial sword is here, as well as Pancho Villa's last known saddle. Not to mention, of course, a fully restored chuck wagon. I'm sorry, not a chuck wagon. It's a stagecoach wagon. All right, low-hanging bridge here, guys, so just be aware of that. This is one of 5 iron bridges we have here in San Antonio. And all of them date back to the early 1900s. Been with us for a while. They actually all come from Berlin, Connecticut. Now on the right is a black iron sculpture, Father Massenet's table. Now Father Massenet conducted the very first Catholic Mass here on June 13th of 1691. Notice, guys, the sculpture is on an island, you see, with the tall cypress tree and those 2 benches right there. Well, that island we call Marriage Island because over 200 marriage ceremonies take place there every year. Aww. And when you look at that island from an elevated point of view, it's actually in the shape of a heart. Guys, I mentioned the date, June 13th of 1691. Very important date. It's actually how we got our name because June 13th is the feast day of St. Anthony. Because the first Catholic Mass was performed that day, that's why we are now called San Antonio. All right, take a look on the left. You see the tall building here with the big American flag waving at the top? This is called the Tower Life Building, and it was built here in 1929. When you look at the top of that building, you're going to see some finger-like structures that come out from up there, and those are actually gargoyles. You see, the building's original owners, the Young brothers, were known for being pretty superstitious. They actually put the gargoyles up there to scare away any evil spirits that might be lurking about. You can also look on the side of their building just beneath the second floor windows. You see those ghoulish faces beneath those columns?
Oh, yeah.
Well, like the gargoyles, they were put up there to scare away the evil spirits. Well, unfortunately, what happened, guys, is that the Young brothers, they opened their building June 1st of 1929. Several months later in October, well, that's when the stock market crashed and the Great Depression began. And they ended up having to sell their building to satisfy the tax bill on it for about 10 cents on the dollar.
Gosh. Yeah, that one had a nest up there. Okay.
On the right side, International Center, built here in 1968. And today it just houses various trade offices. from Canada, Mexico, as well as the U.S. And that red sandstone building you see right in front of us, this is our courthouse, called the Bexar County Courthouse, built here in 1896. The longest active running courthouse in Texas. All right. Now, guys, you're going to hear my horn blow. Don't want to scare anybody. I just have to warn traffic out here. We're going to take a right turn, and as we do, take a look down the left side of the boat if you'd like to. You'll see that the riverwalk does continue in that direction. In fact, our riverwalk continues for another 10 miles in that direction. That'll take you all the way down to the Missions. Now, this channel right here we simply call the flood channel because back in 1921, unfortunately, we did have a huge flood here. In fact, water levels rose to 8 feet above street level. Now, at that time, we did not yet have the flood channel. So that's why that flood was so devastating. And we also have a system of floodgates, which keeps us all very safe. We never worry about flooding down here. Never, never, never. All right, on the left side, you see all the locks up here on the fence? It's become a custom here in San Antonio, guys. Once you get married here, couples will come here and they put a lock up here on the fence, and then they'll throw the key in the river. It's a symbol of their devotion to each other.
Aww.
We should have done that.
Every once in a while, you do see a combination lock going through. On the left side is Main Plaza, guys. Now, we have various buildings that you can access through Main Plaza. So if you do go, I do recommend you visit the San Fernando Cathedral. This is a very old cathedral, hundreds of years of history. And in fact, some of the remains of the actual fighters at the Alamo rest there. They also do a laser show there. It's actually going on tonight, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Each show, by the way, is free. And they do 3 shows each night, one at 9, one at 9:30, and one at 10. All right, take a look. You see this really tall cypress tree right in front of us? It's about 90 feet tall. It's called the Ben Milam tree. In 1835, Mr. Milam was actually up in that tree helping us fight Mexico to gain our independence when he lost his life to a sniper in the Mexican army. So that's why we call it the Ben Milam tree. We simply just named it in honor of his sacrifice. This tree, by the way, is probably the oldest tree on the Riverwalk. It's estimated to be over 200 years old.
Oh, wow.
Now, back then, of course, it was a lot shorter. He was actually able to climb it. Today, though, I think that would be a bit more difficult. And I'm going to mention one other tree real quick, guys. Take a look on the right side of the boat. You see the tree wrapped with the white Christmas lights? Well, as we get closer, we're going to know something kind of peculiar about that tree. It's growing out of a stone wall. Well, the legend is behind that tree. The legend is that during the flood of 1921, because there was so much water here, it created a massive amount of water pressure, forced the seedling for the tree into the wall, and ever since then it's been growing there. So if the legend's true, guys, that means in about 3 years that tree will turn 100 years old. And it's a fig tree, by the way.
Wow.
Oh, this is the Esquire Tavern directly on the right. The very first tavern ever to open on the Riverwalk. In fact, it very conveniently opened up at about 12:01 a.m. the day after Prohibition ended. Yeah. They say it was a barber shop during Prohibition. But we had a lot of barber shops here back then. Alright guys, take a look on the right as we get past these trees here. We're going to see a large concrete figure coming into view that they say is an Aztec goddess, but I do think there's a resemblance to Lady Gaga. Nevertheless, the Aztec Theater, built here in 1926. This is where all the locals came to see what was a new technology at that time, the silent movie. Today, though, it's actually no longer a movie theater. We use it for, for various concerts and other productions, too. All right, now take a look. You see the stone walkway bridge here? This is where Jennifer Lopez filmed the scene of one of her movies. The movie is called Selena. So today we just simply refer to the bridge as Selena's Bridge. On the left, we have a white stucco building. It's a very, very old building. Established way back in 1852 as an all-boys school. And over the years, that school grew and eventually became St. Mary's College. The St. Mary's University used the building for its law school all the way up until 1966. But today it's a hotel called the Omni La Mansion Hotel. Nice place to stay. A lot of history there. Alright guys, I strongly recommend once we come out from underneath this bridge, take a look on the left side of the boat. Be sure to look up, because we're going to see an optical illusion that appears like a freestanding wall. So take a look up.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
And this building, guys, is actually a hospital. It's called the Nix Hospital. It's built here in 1930. It's where the famous comedian Carol Burnett was born.
Oh,
And it does still operate as a hospital today.
that's cool.
I'm hungry now.
I know, smell this. I'm starving.
Harley Davidson. City Harley Davidson.
The white stone building directly in front of us, the Hyatt Regency Hotel, built here in 1981. And you'll see that when you look up, it only goes up about 16 floors. And the reason for that, in San Antonio, we do have a city ordinance that disallows any building from casting a shadow upon the Alamo. If you walk directly through the lobby of that hotel, you'll end up in Alamo Plaza. So the Alamo's just on the other side.
Oh,
We do treat the Alamo, guys, as a war memorial. So that's why we don't allow any building to ever cast a shadow upon it. So for that reason, this hotel was not allowed to be built any taller.
Watch out, ducks.
On the right is a building called the Casino Club Building. Built here in 1927. Now the name of the building, guys, is kind of misleading because it was never a casino. It's actually a social club. Today, though, you can live there. Those upper floors are all apartments. And Alex Haley, the author of Roots, actually used to live there.
More ducks.
All right, guys, take a look. This is an area called River Square. A lot of our restaurants and bars are here, so like I said, definitely take a look around because you may want to revisit this area for a good meal and a big margarita.
mm-hmm.
Now, our ducks like to come here too because, well, they get a free meal here from time to time, and we actually can see some fish in the river here too. Let's take a look around.
Mr. Wiggles.
This portion of the river, by the way, is all natural. Now, the walkways, sidewalks, and walkway bridges you see here were all completed by March of 1941. Designed by a man by the name of Robert Hugman. On the right side of the boat, see that